Gulfstream Park.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo, and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the frim fram sauce with the awesome bay with shafafa on the side.
Wait until the theme is over. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Got the timing a little bit off, but that's okay because we've got the show is up and running. We're up on the Let's Eat South Florida group, and how can I be overly critical when we've got the understudy of the stars, Ken, the Professor Jacobsen, friends of restaurant businesses. He's got, we're here at 10 Palms at Gulfstream. Jeff Defo de Forest, Tony Segredo, Lubie on a plane to the Dominican Republic. Hopefully there's no natural disasters that are about to unfold.
He's got an exclusive interview with Sammy Sosa. He's going to bring back, and we're going to air segments of that over the next few weeks on the show.
And it's all good. And we say welcome to Professor Ken, filling in quite capably. Not only did he get the show up and running, but he also pulled a Lubie where he had that panic-stricken moment before the show.
Happens, yeah.
And
Where's
said,
my phone?
Where's the phone? Oh, my
Where's
God.
my phone?
I got to go down to the car.
And he had to run to the parking lot, which is like 3 miles from here. No, it's nearby. But
3 miles?
I think it just comes. It's a curse of the Lubitz, and he does do this. He sabotages. I think he's at the point now where he actually influences people's minds. Because, that was a total Lubie move.
But he made it back and forth in time, and also in time to order the food. And now, what do you got there, Ken?
Conch fritters, which are excellent.
Really?
Wow, yeah.
You know how I
Nice
feel
flavor.
about conch fritters in general.
I do
Defo.
not.
Well,
You don't like them?
I usually think they're too much batter and not enough conch. And I'm just like, it's one of those inherently flawed dishes because there was one place that made a great, and it was a mixed seafood fritter. And I know where it was at Licky Sticky Barbecue, our friend Juliet. Ooh. She not only had the conch, which sometimes gets lost in the batter, she also had big pieces of shrimp, and it was a shrimp and conch combo. But now that you say it's good, I should not be eating fried food, but I'm going to have to go in and just
You don't
take
have
a
to
little
apologize
sample.
on this show, Mike Mayo.
I shouldn't eat fried food.
That's
but
for
I'm
you.
going
That's
to.
that's the phony, diatribe you give your doctors. Oh well, I didn't, think about the fried food.
Yeah,
But,
You are correct. It's really good.
Yeah.
He's
Got good flavor
he's got a.
and discernible conch.
I'm also
I said
assuming
conch
from
with an N.
from your rant about the lack of conch and conch fritters, you're not a Hush Puppies fan.
No,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not. And that to me is one of
I
those
love
southern
Hush Puppies.
What's the place on the way to the Keys everybody stops at?
Alabama Jacks.
Alabama Jacks. They
Yep.
say those are great. But I've had really good conch fritters in a lot of different places. And, you don't want them just overstuffed with filler. The authenticity of it is you would like to.
And this conch
allude
is not
to.
too chewy. You can actually, chew it up and digest it. And it's so I'm going to give it the thumbs up. So good job on the ordering there.
One
if
of
you
the
want
few
this,
menu items I have not had. I'm very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
The
I
rest
went-
of this stuff looks very healthy and attractive, though.
Well,
Mike Mayo. Wow.
okay. There's a reason for this, and I did go to. Today was the time for my annual physical with my primary care physician, and you know what the official diagnosis was there, Jeff from the Forest?
What was it?
Skull and crossbones.
He said, "Too chubby. You're too chubby."
Oh, really? That was it?
Well, I also have
you got
high
off
blood
late.
sugar, high cholesterol. I need to get on some
Stunning
more meds.
diagnosis for a member of this show.
Yeah.
It's
And
funny.
chubby.
It was funny because Lubie dropped the dog off, Wolf.
Yeah.
Who like all
Who
huskies,
just ate his remote?
who like all huskies are slightly retarded. I don't know what the better term.
I don't think you can
none
use
of
the
them
R word
are-
anymore.
I think you can use it about a dog,
A mentally challenged
Mentally
dog.
challenged.
Yes.
Yeah.
like all huskies, including Dan Hurley.
Oh,
Who turns down $100 million to coach? Like,
Wait,
what the hell is
he
wrong with
turned
you?
that. What did he spurn to Kentucky?
Yeah.
I have not been paying attention this week. Thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, they
Joseph.
offered him 11 or 7 years for $77 million, and he gave him a flat no. Didn't even want to take the interview. And then they offered him 100 for 7 years, fully guaranteed. And
Oh.
it's like, I want to stay in Lovely Stores, Connecticut.
Well,
with all the
unlike
meth.
Phil Mickelson, he's a guy who I guess has some integrity, and he loves
Yeah.
UConn, the program. Look,
They probably
They've
had to
had-
pony up to, considerable amount
Again,
of
they've
cash, too.
got obviously a great program, but from what I've heard about Stores Connecticut, better places to live.
I've been to Stores, Connecticut.
I've been there.
I've also been to Lexington, Kentucky, the home of Keeneland, where it's about to start racing, and we love it out there. But
Where you really want to be is Ledyard, Connecticut, where Foxwoods is, and Mohegan Sun.
it's a short drive, not only from
Yeah.
Stores to there, but also to New Haven, home of some great pizza. Look, the guy, he wants to go for the three-peat, and then him and Pat Riley could cash in on three-peat jerseys.
Anyway,
How can you
Paraphernalia.
judge a guy who turns it down? He's going to make his money anyway.
I mean, he's going to make some of his money back, but when you factor in, again, the rumors on his contract extension at UConn will be somewhere between 7 and 8 million, as opposed to
per year?
12.
Okay.
And
How
he's
much can
saying
you-
he wants to retire by 60, so legitimately
let
this
me
could
ask
very
you
well
this.
be his last contract. You factor that in state taxes, he's not going to get like half his money back. That's
And this
mean,
might come as a
doubles
shock.
a pretty big number.
This might come as a shock to some people.
How much can you spend?
Not everybody is motivated by money on this earth. Look, there comes a point, and I've had this discussion with pro athletes, with golfers when I was on the golf tour. And Mark McCumber was a guy who had pretty good success. He won his share of tournaments. He started doing course design. He was like, you know what? And this was back in the 90s, so you can adjust for inflation. But he said, there's really nobody needs more than $3 million a year to live. I mean, you got enough to support your family and their kids and their offspring and probably 2 generations if you're making that for 20 years solid.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it comes to that point of, I guess, some people are just wired to be kind of capitalists and just they keep score by the dollar amount. That was the Wayne Huizinga school of thought. It's like, how much money do you need? And he says, that's how I keep score. And then there are other people who say, if I can be comfortable, I don't mind, giving up more money for maybe more time with my family,
Okay,
quality
but
of
didn't
life.
you just cite the wrong example? Because you did professional golf, and we learned from the Saudis
Yeah, everybody
that
has a price.
Like 95% of the PGA was indeed motivated
They're
by
all
money.
whores.
Because pretty much everybody was like, "Oh, $100 million, see ya, PGA. We're
Right.
gonna go play the
Look,
Greater Dubai Open."
A lot of people do have a number. It is surprising that the number 100 million was not enough to persuade Hurley to jump from
I was
the Northeast, but maybe he's just scared of the general lack of dental hygiene and other things in the state of Kentucky.
I mean,
Yeah, he's not the only one.
I know. I look. I'm just gonna say, from what I've seen, and I've been to Lexington a couple of times.
yeah, there is strong talent. there.
Lexington fits in very well with the SEC in terms of female talent. Like there's certainly not weak genetics among the co-ed population in Lexington, Kentucky. in
There's
my
a
personal
level of
opinion.
sophistication there that I've seen the many times I've been to Keeneland.
I will
yeah.
say again, I've been to Lexington. Like Ashley Judd, who's cited as Miss University of Kentucky,
Yeah.
is kind of like mid-level for Lexington. She's kind of like
No,
a
it's
7.5.
it's,
Lexington.
Well, and you were at the Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar, Frank Tellerico's
Yep.
great joint.
There
during
you
the
go.
Invasion of the University of Kentucky co-eds came down there, and those spring breaks were spectacular.
I don't.
were they
I've
not?
never
I
been to
mean,
Mississippi State, so
Speaking of dirty
possible,
old men, man.
but I've never seen an SEC school that did not have strong co-ed.
well,
talent.
I gotta put in a good word for Florida State, which I don't even know what they're part of now. ACC, but they Tallahassee. Let me tell you, there was it was a very nice campus in terms of the the aesthetics, the trees, the topography, and also the student population, both female and male. I mean, very just a fine looking group of young students. And I guess you're right. Lexington is, I guess, Defo would call it maybe the elitist part of Kentucky. Louisville is a little bit more gritty. And,
No doubt. Yeah.
the gritty city.
If you look at the location of just the two racetracks, one's essentially in a ghetto area, and the other one is
I don't think we use the word
pristine.
ghetto anymore, but we'd say more
let's
urban
say,
area.
Let's say, I mean, it could be a different kind of ghetto, but that's not to cast aspersions and get into your usual racial divide.
Do you want to
try
just say
create
a
each other.
Warsaw ghetto? Or something like that?
It's ugliness, yeah. It's a lousy neighborhood. But anyway, and you look at where Keeneland's located in Lexington, it's you would think you were at the absolute epitome of nirvana.
Hey, speaking
Anyway,
of
to bring
the-
the story full circle.
yes,
Lubie dropped off Wolf, and my mom said to me, she was like, Lubie's put on a few pounds. And I said, well, the fact that he does a show 5 days a week where they just bring plates and plates and plates
It's
of
crazy.
food,
Yeah.
and it's free because it's Lubie, probably doesn't hurt on that.
Mostly free
that
because it's
pounder.
Mayo,
So
I think.
and that
that
brings
your
it
doctor has the same observation,
Right,
comes
and
as
he-
very little surprise.
But here's the thing, and this is the conundrum and the hypocrisy of my world is first he says I'm too chubby. He prescribes some medications for me that, and he also by doctor's orders says don't do any more big bites because I told him I was having some pain in my neck, and he says that's from eating too
Wait a minute.
fast, too
He
much.
watches the show?
No, he doesn't watch the show,
Oh,
but I
okay.
explained to
Yeah,
him
yeah.
like some symptoms I was having with my throat, and sometimes I feel like a little bit of a thing. He goes, that's from eating too fast
The
and
big
too
bite
much.
looms is a rather large mistake. I
Well,
mean,
it's so by doctor's orders, I might have to temper it down. Maybe not entirely cut it out, but I'd say maybe a once a week thing. And again, everything in moderation.
What
My
are
name-
some recent examples of big bites? I mean,
Yesterday-
we're talking
just yesterday.
chestnut, shove a whole hot dog in your mouth.
Well, this was
this one beyond
basically
chestnut. Yeah.
a whole. Okay, I took the top of the bun off one of those hot Nashville chicken sliders, which they have boosted the heat at
Nice.
batch yesterday.
Nice.
Removed the top of the bun, shoveled the whole slider in my mouth in one bite, and then
And this would be all that you needed to eat for the day.
For the day.
right there.
For the day.
He did it in one bite.
But I also ordered a couple other things. They had the nice shrimp and avocado salad. Meanwhile, today we've got we went light for the spring. We're now in the Royal Palm meat. We're
Look at you
into the
guys.
spring, and we went light.
at this.
We've got the
Charcuterie
roasted
board.
red pepper hummus board with a
Oh, wow.
lovely
Look at that.
array of crudité, right? They call it
Mhm.
crudité, those sliced vegetables.
Getting fancy.
We've
Hey.
got either what you call a charcuterie or antipasto platter, where you have the finest in meats and cheeses,
That looks great.
along with some lovely little looks like a little trail mix and some other grapes.
I think this would be charcuterie because it's not just straight Italian meats.
Right. They call it a charcuterie board and a French BBB. And then, of course, we went to Japan and Defo ordered the rainbow roll.
Very
Also
nice.
has a little bit of the spicy mayo on top, the wasabi mayonnaise, but I think looks completely
No, very,
healthy.
very, very good. It really is.
and Tony got his usual caprese salad.
with chicken.
This time, no more tuna. Why'd you switch, Tony?
Lance over.
Lent is over. It's time to eat chicken and meat again on a Friday. And when we're going to be hopefully visited by Joe Beja in a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about, we were talking about places that are just completely heavenly. Keeneland Racetrack, one of them. The Pearly Gates of Augusta National in Augusta, Georgia, maybe
Did you
another
see
one.
the big three teeing off? That was kind of moving.
I did
Yeah, it
not.
was.
Who
Yeah,
are the
yeah.
big three now? I've
well,
lost
I mean,
track.
Nicholas
for the
Watson.
ceremony, yeah.
Nicholas Watson and player.
Right.
It was
'Cause
great.
over the years, it has changed depending on who's still alive
Yeah,
and still
That
who
was
can
pretty
swing
much
a
the
club.
criteria. You had to be alive. Yeah.
Right. Well, you'd be surprised.
Although
Sometimes,
I'm surprised they didn't hold Arnie up there and just have him hit one.
wait, so
as a
it
corpse.
was Nicholas
Watson,
Nicholas Watson and
Gary Player.
Very
And
few
Gary
dead
Player
people.
still
Gary
in great
Player
shape,
is
yeah.
a marvel. He must be well into his 80s now.
No, he's a great guy. Very
You
enthusiastic.
talk about insufferable,
Yeah.
Defo. You think I was insufferable? All the players, I mean, look, Gary Player was a great accomplished golfer, won a lot of majors.
Yeah.
But he would get on the range and he would start going off on all the different. He would tell everybody within earshot about how perfect his bowel movements were and how
Oh,
great
yeah.
his diet was.
I
and
feel
how
like
he is
Gary
like
Player
That
Jack-
has-
might, that might define insufferable.
Gary Player has set a bad standard for the rest of the world because
Yeah.
he's such a nice guy, and all of you sports media people love him so much. And I feel like it has made the rest of the world softer than it should be on white South Africans. That like
He wasn't in charge
if
of the
any group
government.
of people from apartheid through Lethal Weapon 2 through Elon in the modern day has proved that they are completely evil as a group of people. It is white South Africans.
That's Ken Jacobsen.
Gary
everybody.
Player
Ken the professor.
You're going to have
has
to issue a
made
lot
them
of disclaimers on the
too-
show. Man. Geez.
too soft on this particular group.
But have you ever gone?
I've
Those
never
were the
met
thoughts
Gary Player. He
of,
might be the greatest
yeah.
person in the world.
No, he's good. You might be right
He's a
about
very
Elon
nice guy.
Musk,
yeah.
though.
No, he's very nice.
But getting back
We
to
love Gary
Augusta,
Player. We wanted to make that statement.
Well, no, could-
when I first showed up, this is how old I am now,
People
and
have
how
forgotten the
old
lessons
I
of Lethal Weapon.
how
2.
how old I feel. When I first showed up to Augusta National in April of 1989, as a Cub reporter for the Spartanburg Herald Journal. Do you know who it was a foursome, I believe, of opening tee shots, the ceremonial tee shots. Sam Snead. I think at that point, Hogan was not alive at that point, but it was Sam Snead.
Dow Finster.
Saracen.
Who was one other? It might have been Arnie at that point. He might
Had to
have
be
been.
Arnie. Come
Yeah.
on. Jig 'em
I
a
don't
little
know.
bit.
No, you know what? Arnold was
He
still
probably was
competitively
still
playing
active,
at that
yeah.
point. I got to look that up. I got to go to the Google machine, but it was like some old time names. It was definitely Sam
I think
Snead.
we're gonna get like a Mayo. Actually, saw Bobby Jones.
It
play.
was.
Come on.
It wasn't Bobby Jones. It was probably Saracen and Snead.
Saracen was the one with the bucket hat, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
he was one of them for years.
And you talk about white South Africans. There was some big time old school racism on the tee box there back in those days.
Well,
I
look
love
where
that
they
you
were.
say-
I mean, Augusta National.
I love that you say was about an Augusta National, as if it's
Yeah.
it's all.
I haven't been there in a long
It's
time.
changed dramatically
Yeah.
with the diversity issue.
They have gotten a little bit more progressive. They do have women members. They do have minority members. These
What
things
you
have
say they have
changed.
Condoleezza Rice is what you mean.
Condoleezza Rice.
It's like two birds, one stone.
It's like interviewing Art Shell to satisfy the Bruni rule.
Yeah.
When you have Condoleezza on the board of directors or whatever that is.
Who was the Hurricanes defensive coordinator who got interviewed for every job in the end? Randy. She's the Randy Shannon
He's a
of
Randy
golf
Shannon,
club membership.
Yes,
There
yes.
you go. Just give Condi a membership, and all your troubles magically disappear. Shoal Creek. Is she a member of Shoal Creek? I really
Probably.
remember that controversy back in 1991.
You might have to cut to a break because I got to get my pick.
Shoal Creek, I feel it's probably
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Why don't we start
Yeah, yeah.
with a? You want to do the contest? Let's
Yeah,
start
do
the
the contest.
contest,
Do the
and then we'll
contest.
take a break.
I may have to bail on you. But
Well, you do
don't
what
need me
you
for the
got to
contest.
do,
Yeah, yeah.
Defo.
What
If
came
you,
in
if
first
you got
race?
investment opportunities, I don't want to stand in the way. All I heard last week was, "Oh, I could have had this. I could have had that."
Exactly.
Eat your chicken, go to
Yeah.
the betting windows, and I'll do the contest. But you're going to miss a good one because I know that, especially
You think I might have had the
Tony
answer?
Segreto is going to like this one. All right.
Oh, all right.
It's time for the Lunchbox Sunday Brunch giveaway. You know the deal. 3 components that you should email to me at mikemayoeats@gmail.com by noon tomorrow, noon Saturday, April 13th. You're going to email the answers to this week's restaurant trivia questions along with your horse selections. It's numbers 1 through 12 for this week's contest race, which is going to be the 10th race at Gulfstream on tomorrow's card, Saturday's card. Are you paying attention, Tony Segreto? Because you're going to love this one.
I'm paying attention.
And I'm going to be mocking Defo because I'm not going to tell him what the answer is. Again, horse selection for race 10, numbers 1 through 12, the restaurant answer. And guess what this week's tiebreaker pick in the sports world is going to be?
WNBA draft,
And no,
because I got Caitlin Clark for number 1.
what were we just talking about? The Masters. Give me the winner of this week's Masters tournament along with the winning margin.
Okay.
And
Margin is
again, this
interesting.
will be encouraging people to wait until noon tomorrow deadline because you can watch the whole second round, hopefully get finished and unfold today. And before the third round tees off, you could kind of see who's in the top 10 and who's within 5 shots and who has a shot.
But you never know. Going into
You
the
never
third round,
know.
that's moving day.
Because as they say, the Masters doesn't really start until the back 9 on Sunday, right? We
That's
can come
true.
up with a whole bunch of Masters cliches, but we'll do that after we
That
get through
is
the
true.
contest. All right. It's going to be a new wrinkle. First time we have a golf as the third tiebreaker. And here we go. Again, the contest race, 10th race on tomorrow's card at Gulfstream. It's a $60,000 maiden race going 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Post time scheduled for 5:51 p.m. A full field of 12, no also eligibles. If there's any scratches, you get the post-time favorite. Hopefully the weather will remain good and it'll be on the turf. The turf will be firm. Looks like a wide open race. We've got a 7-2 favorite from Mike Matt's KK's Arrow, and then a couple of other mid-range. It's a wide open race. 1 through 12 is your numbers. All right. And if everybody has all 3 components right, we go to the tiebreaker hat for the next live show, which is going to be Tuesday's show. We're going to be doing a home show. Defo's back. He's in time for the restaurant trivia questions. Here we go. For this week's contest, we salute a place that's a Tony Segreto and Defo favorite. Number 1, this meaty chain with over 600 locations nationwide and with South Florida locations in Miramar, Coconut Creek, Miami, and Boynton Beach has a Lone Star State name, but oddly enough, oddly enough, was founded and is headquartered in Indiana, of all places. Tony, do you know this?
Mhm.
Okay. Defo, do you know this? He's rolling his eyes like it's so freaking
and-
easy.
Well, no, it's great, and I'm glad you've become a convert.
I've become a convert. I
Unbelievable,
stopped for a meal, a road-weary meal at the location in Port St. Lucie on the drive back from Tallahassee this week.
What kind of
It was
meal?
fantastic. A road-weary meal. It means we were
Okay.
stuck in traffic in Orlando for
But
like freaking 2
It
hours.
shows a measure of culinary maturity on your part.
Yeah, no.
Because you would have sneered at this and made a face.
That Wednesday night, $14.99 sirloin steak special with 2 sides. Unbelievably good. 8 ounces. All right. Number 2.
This is Mr.
Now,
Sophistication.
this is the Mayo clue,
Yeah,
the patented Mayo clue that will confuse a lot of people.
Oh, good. You're going to throw him off now?
The
Oh,
first
okay.
word in its name can be scrambled to form a dreaded word that is on many procrastinators' minds this weekend.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
okay.
Ken, he's sharp. He got it right away.
I
got
already
it
did.
right away?
I already did mine. So.
Okay, good for you. All right. I didn't for the last couple of
I mean,
years.
the first clue was a lot easier.
Hope you got a
I
good
think.
professional involved. Then.
I do have
Okay.
excellent professionals. Nothing but the best. Number 3. Okay. So
Okay.
again, you can unscramble the first
Okay, go
word
ahead.
All right, we got down.
for the
Yeah.
procrastinators. Do you like that one?
Yeah.
It's all right.
No, it's pretty clever.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, got to give it.
And finally, number 3, you won't find Patrick Swayze here, but you will find bags of complimentary peanuts in barrels by the entrance and baskets of freshly baked yeast rolls on the tables.
I think you just dated yourself, dude.
And what do we say about that bread, Tony?
It tastes so.
And it's-
Oh, that fresh
and it's
baked bread.
warm.
You got to give it your
Warm.
closet. Yeah.
It's warm.
It's
You know,
warm.
you should have gone with Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Yeah.
There's an
There's a new one?
There's
Oh.
a remake.
Oh, well, that
And
shows
it
you
is delightfully
I'm
horrible.
falling into the Defo trap,
It
which
is
is all these
wonderful.
old, like 40-year-old references.
It was
Like,
wonderfully
It's okay.
cheesy and bad.
I think of Patrick Swayze.
And
when I-
Conor McGregor is so good as a bad guy.
is this like now they've turned it into a series?
No, they made
It's
like
a remake.
They made like an overly long movie that has a huge Deus Ex Machina part of it because the
Why do
original,
they do this for things that don't need to be remade
the
at
original
all?
one is like out in the middle of Missouri in a cow pasture and land that nobody wants.
Okay.
Right.
The new one occupies like an entire Florida Key. So it's like $2 billion worth of real estate that for some reason they put a crappy bar on and they don't want to sell.
It's
I
like the
don't know.
Wahlberg remake of The Gambler,
Yes.
a classic movie right
Oh,
up
no,
there.
that
with
was
the-
awful.
Some things
Citizen
don't need
Kane,
to be
yeah.
retouched.
That was awful. This remake is
And see,
delightfully terrible.
And I don't even understand. Like, look, I love the movie Fargo, and I know a lot of people love this TV series that they spun off and made a whole TV series, Fargo. But
As they should,
why?
because it's excellent.
It's excellent.
It has
I don't
nothing
want
to
you-
do with the movie. It's
Oh,
not.
well, then why do they
a
call it
contin-
Fargo?
It's set in the same universe.
Why don't they just call it Dakotas?
Well, okay. Number one, honestly, why did they call it Fargo? Because Joel and Ethan Cohen are involved as the
Oh,
executive
okay.
producers,
It's all
and they
about
wanted
the,
a throwback to let you know
Right.
the Cohen brothers.
they
were
want it
involved.
because people love that movie, and if they identify,
Well, people
with
love
that-
pretty much everything they do.
Yes. Yeah.
But yes, you
Barton Fink,
you
my
should
favorite.
totally watch the show. It
Big
is
Lebowski.
one of the best things.
They should make a TV
ever
show
on
out of the Big
television.
Lebowski, shouldn't they?
That's one.
Is this the third
Cult
clue?
classic.
Mayo? What is
Honestly,
this?
the
We're
problem is-
done with the clues.
Oh, okay.
We're
What-
done with
what
the
else do you have
contest.
to come up with?
Again,
The problem with Big
well,
Lebowski is you can't get the cast to do a TV show, and without those three involved, I don't know if you have something worth doing.
something just happened. I heard a noise that
So did
scares me. All right. Well,
But we
why
seem
don't
to be
we
maintaining.
again
Lubie Sabotage.
send the 3 components? That is the name of the restaurant, the horse selection between 1 and 12 for the contest race, tomorrow's 10th race at Gulfstream Park, along with the winning golfer. Who's the winner of this year's Masters and the victory margin? How many strokes? For example, Tiger Woods by 14 strokes. Oh, that was 1997 or something
Wow.
like that. Anyway, send them all to MikeMayoEats@gmail.com by noon tomorrow. We're back to the noon deadline tomorrow. Yeah, we'll if there's a tie and a tiebreaker slips and a hat, that'll be on Tuesday's live show. That's our next live show, Tuesday morning from home. And again, just as an FYI, we're going to be holding our Lunchbox Brunch Bash next Sunday, the 21st of April. Are you in, Tony Segreto?
Yes, I'm
along
in.
with your wife?
My wife.
We get +1s as hosts. We're going to have Defo. Lubie will be back. Ken, of course, invited as always. Bring the whole, last
They've
time we
been
had,
asking actually about
Yeah.
that, so we may have to bring little kids back to
they
do
were
some
great.
gambling
They
more.
picked winners. We like kids who pick winners, as opposed to me who can't. I can't even catch a cold lately. So, again, April 21st. If you want to come to that, even if you're not a winner in the contest, we're giving you a discounted rate of $44 per person plus tax and gratuity. And just email the number of people in your party along with your name to MikeMayoEats@gmail.com. Do that by the middle of next week. I want to get a nice, accurate count to Joe Beja. You could get it in by Thursday, let's say. That would be nice. And we're going to have a fun time. It looks like it's shaping up to be a nice crew. Val is going to be bringing some friends. I'm going to invite some neighbors. I think we're going to have at least 30 to 50 people like
That'd
we
be
did
nice.
last time.
Nice.
So that's impressive. So, again, that's coming up April 21st, next Sunday. You
I
get
wanna
the
come
all-day
just to hear you.
brunch buffet.
I want to come just to hear you speak.
Oh, yeah, I give my opening speech. It's very inspirational. They call me
Very inspirational.
combination of Tony Robbins, Joel Osteen, and I don't even know who else.
Bernie Sanders, I think.
Yeah, redistribution of wealth. That's what my specialty at the
Yeah.
track. I give away all my money. All right, before we take our first break, I gotta put in a good word for our friends at Tropical Acres.
Yes.
Wow.
The Studiali family. They know everything about how to make you and your guests feel comfortable, welcome, warm, great food. They've been in business 75 years. It is the 75th anniversary this month. They're celebrating. And the way they celebrate there is the way they do it every day, with just great value, great prices, quality steaks and seafood. Going to the bar for happy hour. That is every day, Monday through Friday. Every weekday, 4:30 to 6:30 in the bar. You get half price off everything in the bar, including the great those Belvedere martinis. That's my friend. $8 for each of those on the happy hour, along with light bites. Then you go into the main dining room. You get the great prime rib, filet mignon. I'm very high on the seafood dishes now. It's going to be time for that twin lobster special in a few weeks after Mother's Day. But before Mother's Day, it's still stone crab season until May 1st. They usually have that on the board as special for appetizer or main course. And speaking of Mother's Day, give them a call right now because you want to get in the books for that special Sunday that they're open from 1 to 8 p.m. Take mom out for her special occasion. Again, 954-989-2500 is the phone line for the reservations. 954-989-2500. Tropical Acres, tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
My buddy John Jarvis, who turned me on to the place, is going there tonight. A
Excellent.
bunch of people from out of town, and I couldn't be happier about it. Great place for any type of dining that you're looking for. Casual, big occasion, whatever. And they handle big parties very, very well.
Excellent.
Not
Yes.
inclined to alienate you.
Compliments to the great Joe Beja on
Joe
the
Beja came
mortadella.
through.
Mortadella,
Wow.
let me-
Yeah.
I love
Not
it.
an easy meat to source.
No,
Unbelievable.
it's always
And
good.
Tony didn't like his salad. Lady.
No, I did.
Clean
He
Plate
hated it.
Club.
All right. Coming back with more in a moment from Gulfstream Park.
For Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. For an exquisite sushi experience, Kaizen Sushi Bar and Grill in Fort Lauderdale is the place to go. 5640 North Federal Highway, just north of Commercial Boulevard. Chef owner Hui Lam, he's a sushi savant, slicing and serving pristine fish and seafood flown in directly from Japan and around the world. Nigiri, sashimi, special rolls, and omakase dinners. He's ruined me from going anywhere else. It's that good. Open 7 days for dinner and also for lunch. Even if you're not a sushi fan, they have great cooked options, including steaks, chops, rice and noodles, and other Japanese dishes. It's fantastic. For reservations and information, go to kaizenflorida.com. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk, and soon in Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch, and Taco Tuesdays with their $4 premium tacos, including their new birria tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, it's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open-faced smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo, the Lunchbox, sent you. We're back on the Lunchbox. We're at 10 Palms at Gulfstream. We're with Jeff Defo DeForest, Tony Segreto, the legend, and also a legend in his own right, Ken, the Professor Jacobsen. How you been doing with how'd you end up gambling-wise with the NCAA tournaments? Because
Good Final Four, lousy final night.
Oh, wow, okay. I forgot that there was a final on Monday night, and I was on the road with my daughter.
Based on the
college
ratings,
tour.
so did a great many Americans.
What was the final score? Was it Connecticut just blew them away in the second half?
15 points.
15
points.
Connecticut by 15. Those Huskies, a good friend of mine from my childhood, his older brother has been with the UConn program as their videographer, the director of video services for the basketball team and the athletic department. His name is David Kaplan, and congratulations. He posted on Facebook. He's been there for 6 championships. Nobody is offering him $100 million. If they did, I think he would jump at the chance. But
I would think so.
Yeah, but it's pretty impressive because my other, his brother, who's been a friend of mine for life, Brian Kaplan, he went out with his son to the Final Four, posting pictures of them with the trophy and all that stuff. But that's pretty impressive to be part of a program that has won 6 national championships. UConn, I still remember the one I covered, what they won in St. Pete. And that yielded one of my favorite sports stories. It happened at, I'm sure, a place you're familiar with, Ken, a club known as Mons Venus.
Why would I be aware of that particular establishment?
Maybe the St. Pete Dog Track, which is a spectacular place.
But I remember going in there on a certain afternoon, and it was, again, in the middle of the Final Four, and a lot of people were in there enjoying the entertainment. And all of a sudden,
in the middle of the afternoon?
Yeah, in the middle of the afternoon.
Not the time of day to go to that type
it was
of establishment.
packed during a Final Four.
A lot of C-section scars that time of day.
Also, and the other thing was, it was also, the Yankees were still in town for spring training, because it was back when the Final Four still played like in March, and there were still baseball games being played
and they decided to hold it in the worst stadium probably in the history of humanity.
Oh, that dome.
As a friend of mine would describe it, it's like the swap shop decided to build a stadium.
So at Mons Venus that day, we saw there was a tangle of bodies on top of, we didn't know what, but it was like the world's, like, it looked like they were doing a Guinness Book of World Records of, most bodies involved in a lap dance, in a single lap dance. And we were just intrigued of, like, who was beneath it all. And at the end of the day,
Segreto?
No, it was not Tony Segreto. He's turning beet red.
Jim Calhoun?
No. Instead of Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson was at the bottom of the pile, and I'll never forget.
Say OJ.
No, that could have been that, but no, it was Reggie. And after all this untangled, folded. First of all, some people started shouting Reggie, And then others, my friend David Kaplan, who's the videographer, said instead of Mr. October, he should be known as Mr. March. Joe Beja is here. He's giving me the evil eye for telling
Here,
Tampa stories. Here we go. Come on in, Joe. And always good to see our man Joe Beja on the set. How are you this week?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
I'm a little bit road weary, driving around the state, looking at various campuses,
I saw
riding
that.
roller coasters. But
just great though. It's great to show your daughter like that.
you had a
Wow.
daughter
That's
that
great.
went to Florida
Florida
State.
State.
You have a daughter that's
Correct,
going
I
to
do.
Florida State.
Sophomore. yeah.
Ken, do you have any children that you know
Not
of
that
that
they
are going?
can prove.
And I got a son who went to Notre Dame.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's great.
That's good stuff. Joe, how are you this week? What's
We're
happening?
great. We're great. Apologies for missing last week. I have a last minute invite to the Live Golf tournament out of
How much
Doral.
did the Saudis give you?
Not as much as they're giving the players, but I was intrigued by it just because it's one of the concepts of what we're trying to do here at Gulfstream
Okay.
Park. In many cases, that we're on some of our big race days, enticing a new generation to get involved in horse racing and to learn about it and to bet about it. And me personally, it is a perfect for Live Golf. I don't watch any golf. I don't play golf. I'm not a golf fan, but
You don't even watch the Masters? Because I
I have it on in my office. I have to admit,
I
just-
think
it's
here-
soothing almost in the
yeah,
background.
it is
That
and I'm glad
soothing.
that you
calm
said that
voice.
because
And-
one of the notes
The
on my
chirping birds.
Yeah.
one of the notes that I didn't get to yesterday was like just how freaking soothing when you just have the Masters and that music
Yeah.
and the theme and
Yeah.
the
It's
birds.
so nice.
It is.
Like I say, that should be played in every doctor's office.
Yeah.
It should be played in every
Yeah.
DMV and government
They do, yeah.
agency
it should be
office.
played before you go to sleep.
There would be a lot less
And-
violence and rage in the world
Yeah.
if they just
I agree.
had the Masters
100%.
on in the background.
Yeah.
It is
Same-
so soothing.
I think if everybody could do their concession pricing too, that'd be great. I wish I could, but
We were
You
talking
don't want
about
to get a
that.
pimento sandwich?
for like $1.50, sure,
Yeah.
I'd love to get a pimento cheese sandwich for
When I,
$1.50.
when I covered it again, I covered the Masters from 1989 to 2001.
Yeah.
And back then, I think my first year, the pimento sandwiches were 50 cents. The egg
Yeah.
salad was 50 cents. And the top of the line, they had like a Chick-fil-A type chicken fillet sandwich on a
Yeah.
bun. I think it was $1.50 back then. And I don't know what it is
Unbelievable.
now, like $3 or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're getting some supplemental income from the ticket pricing and so forth, but
The-
it's still, I mean, just to see that's just amazing.
yeah.
So
Anyway, so we-
Live Golf was to me
yeah.
was interesting because I walked in, and I'm walking in towards the 18th green. My colleagues that invited me, or former colleagues, they had a suite on the 18th green. So yes, it was a nice experience, but it was right next to their club. They called it Club 54, and I walk in. And I'm like, the DJ's going, oh, we have 15 minutes to tee off. And he kicks in with Thunderstruck by AC/DC. And I'm like, I don't think they've ever played AC/DC at a golf tournament before, but it was interesting. It was very interesting.
They're
to
trying to
see.
change the atmospherics.
Yeah.
But in terms like you would like, I guess, looking for things maybe that you can incorporate
Correct.
both here and at the Preakness, which
Correct,
is another
like food
property. Yep.
activations, partnerships, how they did their club and bottle service. I always look for different elements like that we can incorporate in our big race days.
So let's talk before we go to let's talk about the Preakness. I know the Derby is first on the calendar, but for you, most of your schedule and thinking now, because it is the same parent company that owns Gulfstream, operates the
Preakness.
Maryland tracks,
Yeah.
and I've lost track now. Where is the Preakness being held this year? Is it still
It's
at
still at
Pimlico?
Pimlico.
Okay.
So it will be at Pimlico for this year and next year, which will
Mhm.
be the Preakness 150.
Okay.
And after 150, I believe, is when they will level Pimlico and build a brand new racing facility. And the brand new racing facility will operate year round. I'm not
Mhm.
quite sure what that will mean with Laurel, but until that facility is done, Preakness will move to Laurel
Okay.
for like 151
But
and
this
152.
year, still at Old Hilltop, still Baltimore, and still the same mile and 3/16 distance. New wrinkle for this year, Belmont Stakes. Not at Belmont. You know where it is, Professor?
Not a clue.
Saratoga Racecourse will be hosting
Oh,
a
that's
special 3 or
interesting.
4 day meet to host the Belmont Stakes because, speaking of places being renovated and knocked down and refurbished, Belmont Park, I'm very sad. The whole big grand classic grandstand has apparently met the wrecking ball, and a place where I spent many afternoons and much of my early earnings. But I love that track. But they are reconfiguring it, kind of making it right sizing it for the new era.
Yes.
So the Belmont the next few years is going to be run at Saratoga.
Which would be nice. It'd be so.
It's going to be
pretty.
gorgeous. It's beautiful upstate New York, but they are changing the distance instead of 1.5 miles. I believe it's going to be 1 3/8 this year, but I'm not quite 100% on that. But new wrinkles for the Triple Crown. Meanwhile, we had the great successful championship meet here. Great Florida Derby day. Did we see you since Fierceness put on his display?
have
What did
not.
you think of that?
Unbelievable. I mean, he has to be the horse to beat for Kentucky Derby.
Yeah. That and the Chad Brown horse that won the Bluegrass Stakes last week. Sierra Leone looked very impressive coming from behind. So we got a clash of the styles coming up for the Derby. What's going on here for Derby Day?
So for Derby Day, we're going to be activating 10 Palms Restaurant. And that'll be $95 per person, full buffet.
Right here.
Yes, so full buffet. We'll have a mint julep special for the day. Our partner for that will be Angel's Envy Bourbon. Will be partnering with us for the mint julep for that particular day. We have the souvenir glasses from Kentucky
Honest
Derby.
opinion, mint juleps.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
Although
Awful.
I will give a credit to our carousel club that does a frozen version of it,
Yes.
and that tastes like a mojito with bourbon and acceptable.
Oh, okay.
A frozen version of it
Why
actually
not?
pretty good.
Why not Woodford Reserve?
Wow.
Good question. I have a partnership with Angel's Envy.
And-
They've reached
yeah,
out and they do some
well, you know.
activations and so forth. But I mean, Woodford is a classic. It really is. It
Wood-
is the
Woodford
official
is the
bourbon.
sponsor,
But
yeah.
It is the official
Angel's
bourbon.
Envy, and it's a fine bourbon. I've
Oh,
enjoyed
I
a
have-
lot of it.
yeah,
Multiple bottles.
They
of it.
do their I guess their own kind of boutique barrels, like what you're doing with the Tequila Project. Our friends at Batch, I think they're doing with Angel's Envy, and our friends at Batch are also having some Derby festivities because they are known for their bourbons. And also, we talked with Kevin Danilo yesterday, the proprietor, owner. He also says he does not drink mint juleps 365 or 364 days of the year, but
If
on
you
the-
drink
on
Mick
Derby
Juleps
Day.
other
Yeah.
than Derby Day, you have a problem.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably are also swigging NyQuil or something
Yeah.
like that for alcohol.
I mean,
'cause that's what it tastes like.
Unless you're Foghorn Leghorn, that
Yeah.
is not something
Right.
you should drink on any other day of the
So
year.
we just recently hired Unfiltered Hospitality out of Miami. They
Mm-hmm.
own the Sylvester and Beaker and Gray and so forth. To
Oh,
help
I
us
like Beaker and Gray.
Yeah, to help us revamp our cocktail program. And they're proposing a mint julep, and I kind of raised my eyebrows about that. But they came in with a peach brown sugar mint julep.
Okay.
So it was a twist on just a
Well, if
plain,
you want
and it was good. It was good. It was
If you
decent.
want
It was
some
decent.
inspiration, our friends at Batch, where we were yesterday, they do a kind of a bourbon with a blackberry lemonade drink.
Oh wow! Okay.
And so again, usually you think lemonade and it's either with vodka or a clear spirit, but this one which they mix with bourbons, I think it works perfectly well. And I'd rather have kind of a berry kind of
Yeah.
flavor than a minty flavor. But
I agree.
I'm
I
just
agree.
saying, as somebody that has gone around and maybe tasted, imbibed a few cocktails here and there, but I'm sure whatever they come up with and
Yeah.
what you guys work and collaborate. Yeah, talk about that. You're always on the prowl for new stuff, right?
We are. It gives us, you have to stay relevant, in some cases reinvent yourself and so forth. And we were tasked by my owner and my new president of the company of enhancing,
Yep.
our cocktail menu. And why not bring in the experts for it? The gentlemen from Unfiltered Hospitality have a good reputation with their two places that they have in Miami.
Yeah.
Plus now they have the contracts for Virgin Cruise Lines.
Oh, nice.
And they're their official contract with all the Capital One airport lounges across the United States, and they do the standard in Miami. So they have a great reputation, not only for creating cocktails, but creating the spec sheets, how to pre-batch, training the staff. So
All these things.
And
Yeah.
the key thing for us for speed of service and also simplicity for my bartenders is what we call the amount of pulls.
Mhm.
How many times am I pulling for a product? And we always try to keep that at 4 or below.
Mhm.
So whenever we're making a cocktail, pre-batching assists with that, of course, but
Right.
at least the speed of service will be along that levels. And
Yeah.
in a typical cocktail list, we're doing.
I hate when you go into a place and it takes 12 ingredients and they have to get out the
Yeah.
tweezers and the
Yeah.
scissors, and then
it's
it's
a
like,
little
oh
too
my
much.
God, just give me a Jack and
Yeah.
Coke and get it
Yeah.
over with.
They came in with one of their garnishes. It was cute. It was like the little jagged edges of a lemon rind or
Yeah.
something like that. And my director of a beverage, who has a 3-year-old daughter, goes, "I have those scissors at home if we need them."
Oh man.
Oh God.
Hey, so Joe, besides the huge we call it quarterly, but maybe 3 times a year, the Lunchbox Brunch Bash coming up next Sunday, the 21st. And it looks like we are assembling a good crowd, a good mix of past contest winners who are going to all redeem their prizes that same day. We're going to come out with our better halves, and also we invite all the just viewers and people on the Let's Eat South Florida group. If you want to come out here, spend a great Sunday at the track, live racing, all-day buffet. It's not one of those buffets where they put a parking meter on you and say, you've got 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You get to stay here 12 to 4, $44 discounted rate, plus the usual tax and tip on top of that. It's still a great deal. Thank you so much for doing that. April 21st.
Correct.
That will be the brunch bash. Just email me, MikeMayoEats@gmail.com, with the number of people in your party and your name. We don't require any deposits. Just let me know if you're coming or not in the few days before, so we can get an accurate final count, because these guys here, Joe and his assistant Tommy, they do a great job putting it together. This time of year, we'll all be able to be grouped on the windows near the finish line. It's going to be a great day. We appreciate that, Joe.
Absolutely.
And also, any other of those monthly events coming up?
We do. So the
Cinco
next
de Mayo, I imagine.
we don't do a lot with Cinco de Mayo.
Really?
I'll do a
Okay.
daily special, but
Okay.
everyone's out at Mexican bars
Right,
and
and
restaurants.
it's on a Sunday this
It's on
year,
a
too.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So for us, the next one actually will be April 27th, Saturday. We're going to do our Taste of the Track again, and we're going to do Rum and Caribbean like we did in November. November
was
was
a
the
great
first
event.
installment.
Yeah.
So now we're repeating it again. We got a lot of great feedback on that. Expecting about 300 people. Tickets are still available on our website, www.gulfstreampark.com, and click on events, and you'll go to Taste of the Track. VIP is $85, and the GA, general admission, is $60, and we'll be featuring rums. Havana Club rum, Santa Teresa from Venezuela, Plantation rum. We'll have Captain Morgan or Ron Zacapa working on one or the other. Papa's Pilar, Pusser's Painkiller, Myers Sazerac, Barcelo, Brugal, Mount Gay. So it's the who's
You
of
got it.
rums.
You got it.
So
Make sure you have Uber or Lyft downloaded
Yeah.
on your phone, because
Correct.
after those rum drinks, you are feeling
Yeah.
pretty
And if
good.
and if you come at the VIP, there'll be some single casks and so
Right.
forth while supplies last.
So we got a busy schedule the next few weeks. We got the brunch bash for the Lunchbox on Sunday the 21st. You got the Rum, the Caribbean Festival on April 27th, and then of course, first Saturday in May 4th, Derby Day special $95 buffet here. I think that's enough to keep you busy, and you're going to be heading off to Pimlico for a little bit too,
I
right?
will be flying up May 9th. So
Yep.
the 9th to the 19th, I will be at Pimlico for about 10 days preparing the Preakness.
All good.
Final
Much better
execution.
cocktail, by the way. That
Oh,
Black-Eyed Susan
Black-Eyed
cocktail
Susan.
they do.
Much better.
Better
Much
than the mint
better than the
julep,
mint
but
julep.
still, still a challenge.
Dangerous, because you'll do like 3 of them and then
And
Good luck walking home.
On the
Much
food
less-
end, also, would much rather be eating crab cakes in Maryland than burgoo in Kentucky. So you got
Yes,
that going.
yes.
Yes.
also the Preakness, home of maybe the greatest spectator event in the world,
Which is
the running of the urinals.
I.
Is
No, it's not anymore.
Oh, they don't do that
we
anymore?
don't do that anymore. No.
Oh,
no. We,
damn. That
we,
was
we kind of put an end to
They
that.
cleaned
one,
it
though.
up
the
like
Yes.
spring
videos of that
break
were
in
like the
Florida.
highlight of
videos,
the
yeah,
year.
the vintage videos were good, but we kind of put an end to that. I mean,
Okay.
there's been two change in policies. Number one, you're no longer allowed to bring in your own food or drink. That kind of fueled it. I think you're allowed to, whatever you can carry in, you could bring in. So people
Okay.
were putting like a case of beer in each hand and throwing it in a cooler, and they were ready to go on the urinals. That's why you see all the cans getting thrown at
Mm.
people back in the old pictures. And now our restrooms, the urinals have a tent right above it, so there's no
Okay.
opportunity. There's no clearance
Do you-
for height.
Do you
so-
know who the entertainment is? Because that was
Yes,
one thing
we
the
just announced
Preakness.
it.
Yeah,
We just announced we have Jack Harlow.
oh, nice.
that's-
yeah,
that's
they've
good.
been at the forefront of getting some good hip bands, and
Yes.
That's really
bands
good.
that
Yes.
kids actually want to see, and
Yeah.
I want to see. I mean, I
Jack
remember-
Harlow is great.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, great job as usual, Joe. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
stopping
Fabulous.
Pleasure.
by. We're gonna dismiss you. Oh, and also thank you for the recommendations in both Tallahassee and Tampa.
Oh, of course.
I ended up going to a different place, but I going to be going there a lot in the next few years,
Yes.
obviously. So I will be
Yes.
hitting your suggestions. I guess it was Park 23 and
Table
Edison,
23
Table
and so-
23,
I
the
see you
Edison.
didn't
Table
go to the
23 is
chicken
great.
tenders place.
You went to Cool Beans, which the menu looks great.
The menu's great.
My daughter's just a picky eater, so I look for something that she might eat. So I've never
Oh.
gone yet,
Right.
but the menus always look great.
That menu, when
But-
I looked at it and I heard of, from several people, it's been there since 1996. A little
Yeah.
bit faded, a little
Yeah.
bit. It's not there. The Cool Beans Cafe is not what you go for, like the latest glossy place
No.
build out. But
No.
in terms of food and menu, we
It's
were really
excellent.
happy.
It's
So
excellent.
good place to check out.
But that's the way it is in Tallahassee. No
Yeah.
offense, there's like 3 or 4 restaurants that are, you
Yeah,
could-
that's
you have Illuso for Italian,
Mhm.
and then you had the is it Sage for fine dining. Table 23 is farm to table.
Huntsman is getting some buzz.
And
I don't know.
I
if-
haven't done the Huntsman.
Yeah, it looks like an interesting menu because it looks upscale, nice,
Yeah.
ambiance, and they have things like venison and some of
Yeah.
the antelope
wow.
and things like that.
Interesting.
Hence the Huntsman. They got some of the game on the menu. So
Some people
and-
mention the Edison and casual.
Yeah.
Not
I've
necessarily.
been to
finding-
the Edison.
And I like the ambiance, and I'm a geek over converted buildings. So
Yep.
you get an old power plant building, whatever, and also you turn into a restaurant, and you're on the park. Okay, the
Yep.
food's okay, but the whole
atmosphere,
The whole
atmosphere
ambiance
inside
scenery,
is
pretty
just
cool.
great.
It's
scenery
pretty
is
cool.
big for a lot of
And-
people. Hey, I tell you what, the three of us, we might have to be doing some lunchboxes,
Yeah.
lunchboxes on the road
In
in
Tallahassee,
Tallahassee
There
one
we
of
go.
these days.
I would go. I'm
That
going
might
up
be.
the end of this month.
Everything is possible in the world of in the
Yeah.
world of the internet. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
So
And I like Midtown Caboose for the burgers.
okay,
I know one.
Oh,
I think-
Midtown Caboose is awesome.
Yeah, great.
Yep.
They have a burger menu that's very ambitious, just like when you go to Burger Stop on
Mhm.
the 2 Burger Stop locations, a very ambitious burger menu, but they nail it. They
Yeah.
really do.
well, that's good. I'll have to try it on one of my next journeys to Tally. Speaking of cabooses, we're running way behind
Oops,
on the
sorry.
Lunchbox, but let's take our next break, and then we'll come back and wrap up this edition and this week of the Lunchbox after these words. Food from a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar, a great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. Hey, it's Mayo here for Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Since 1951, for over 70 years, the home of freshness. I've been a customer for over 3 decades, and it's the place to go for poultry, steaks, meats, and of course, their unbelievable selection of fish and seafood. They've got it all. Key West pink shrimp, grouper, snapper, lobster, and of course, Florida stone crab claws of all sizes. Don't forget their famous fish dip and a full selection of prepared foods. It's located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the Seminole Classic Casino. Doug Carter and crew will take great care of you. Make sure to check out their weekly specials and daily catch online at DelawareChicken.com. Quality, value, freshness, that's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Fish, a sophisticated setting. I'm talking about Corvina Seafood Grill. It's at 110 Plaza Real South in Boca Raton, just south of Palmetto Park Road. It's the place to go for the freshest and local seafood and fish, some of it with a Peruvian twist like their great ceviches. It's open 7 days for dinner. They also have happy hours 7 days a week. You don't want to miss it. It's a great place. CorvinaBocaRaton.com for more information and reservations. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. And we're back on the Lunchbox. Thanks to Joe Beja, as usual, for stopping by. Going to be a busy schedule. That Caribbean Rum event is really good.
That
April
sounds
27th,
great.
GulfstreamPark.com/events. And, of course, the Lunchbox Brunch Bash. All you got to do is email me, MikeMayoEats@gmail.com. And, again, contest. You can send your entries there as well. All right, gentlemen. I was going to talk a little bit about. I had a lovely dinner out last night at a place where we've done the lunchbox, and I think we're going to go back there again. Luke's Seafood.
Luke's.
It's in your neck of the woods,
It's
Tony.
right there, and it started by Vinny, but then he left.
Right. Vinny sold it to Luke. Luke, longtime chef, executive chef at Coconuts in Fort Lauderdale, probably a place that you're familiar with. And he opened up his own place with his wife, Roxy, and they're doing well. And I tell you what, the food there is
It's excellent. It's
Excellent.
excellent.
one of those things where humble surroundings, small, maybe only about 8 tables.
Right
fits
behind the
about
car
30
wash.
It's behind the car wash, next to the Mitsubishi dealership. But don't judge a book by its cover, especially in South Florida, because how many great places are in these like little nondescript strip malls. And Luke, they're doing a great job. I had this dish that he's putting on the menu. Again, I paid, we ordered, but then he said, "Oh, you got to try this, Mike." It's a fish cake that is going to be on the menu this weekend. And, when you think of fish sticks or fish cakes, I get flashbacks to my freshman dining hall, and they had these
I get
lousy...
flashbacks to my mother on during Lent.
Yeah. This
Mrs.
is not
Paul's,
like that.
Mrs. Paul's fish sticks.
This was not like that. It was a mixture of mahi and cod on the inside, which he blended with some seasonings, panko crusted fried outer shell, some diced mango on top of a bed of yucca mash with a pineapple jerk sauce.
Oh.
You take a swipe of all those elements, and wowza,
That's a lot of flavors going on.
and that's the thing. Usually I'm a minimalist when it comes to fish. Defoe's cracking up, but it was
I just love the description, man. When you go into Mayo critic mode, it's unbelievable.
No, when you
he's
can
like,
tell from his enthusiasm level when he really likes
Yeah,
something. Now, I will tell you
Yeah.
from your description,
you say it sounds a little busy, right?
It
cod
sounds-
and those particular flavors
It sounds
sounds
busy.
like a lot.
It's
It
a
sounds-
lot.
Very much of the Wolfgang
I,
Puck.
I was a little bit
4 ingredients.
skeptical. I had arched eyebrows like yourself, Professor. And then when I took the swipe and the bite, you know what I said?
I was wrong.
This cacophony of ingredients is a symphony of flavors.
Wow.
Breaks out the fancy
You said that?
cacophony.
I gotta write that.
Breaks
down.
out the fancy words.
A
I heard the company left the table
cacophony
when you
of
said that.
what was
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Cacophony of
Yes.
ingredients led to a symphony of flavors.
Oh,
This is why I was
So
a
it was a
award-winning critic. I
it
didn't
was
win
a-
any James Beard awards like
since you're
Mr.
doing the
Carlos
music theme,
Frias.
it's a Stravinsky-esque dish.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was beautiful. It was
Atonal, but somehow comes
was
together
great.
beautifully.
Put
I
it
don't
in
know.
professional wrestling terms.
it was a
What
it was
else?
It was the
banging.
hammerlock of
what else did you have?
It was banging.
What else
That's
did
what
you
I would
have?
say, and I would recommend. And this is a very happy trend. I think for a long time people would say for a place that has a lot of great fresh fish and seafood, there weren't a lot of great seafood restaurants, and now we have Luke's that's been around almost a year. We have this new J&C Oyster Company that just opened in downtown Hollywood that's getting rave reviews. My ex, Michelle, went there last week soon after it opened and just was gushing about how good it was.
By the way,
It's
did you get your nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize?
I did not.
You hear what this guy did? He drove like 8 hours back from Tallahassee with his ex-wife.
Wow.
Pretty incredible. Yeah,
There
yeah.
was a little bit of yelling in the occasional, but we got along and we had a nice meal at the that restaurant that is the contest restaurant. But J&C Seafood, again, opened up by a chef named Raheem Seeley, who was like the executive chef at Q in Wynwood for a while. Really talented guy. He also had that Drinking Pig barbecue.
Chew also excellent. by the
Yeah,
way.
but he is basically the menu there. J&C Oyster looks great. Luke's is great. Even Keel, our friends and longtime sponsors, just opened up on Las Olas, their second location. Tin Fish opened up
great,
a
yeah.
new second location in Boca Raton. They've done a solid job. Their original one in Sunrise down here. And, and then our friend Eddie, Corvina. There's just, and
Never
again,
forget the fish shack, man.
and then you have
Yeah.
the old timers, places that have been around. Calypso, the Fish Shack, which are now owned by the same people. Both of those long
Rustic
time.
Inn.
really?
Rustic Inn, I'm not so high
wait,
in.
Calypso and Fish
Col-
Shack are same
Yeah.
own?
Yeah, that is
We'll
a
have to have
recent.
a conversation with that off the air.
There's a recent development where
Okay.
a new ownership for both that came in. They took over Calypso after, and also took over Fish Shack, I
Oh.
believe. So
I
can
think
talk
Mike
about that.
is,
But they
the
do a
guy
great
that,
job.
That started a place. He's still there at Fish
Okay.
Shack. Yeah.
Okay.
For a little while, I think he's committed.
Yeah,
to being
you
there.
know, that's sometimes what happens
like
when there's
5 years or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is the trend in the business is consolidation and corporate ownership. So
Well,
I'm not stunned.
Well, I'm
by
not
it.
saying it's. I
I'm
don't
not
know if
saying
it's
entirely
corporate.
positive,
I
but
just know it's a.
more
I
than one
think new
location, it's
people
corporate.
came in, and but again, a lot of good places, and of course, Seafood World and Papa's Raw Bar right next door in Lighthouse Point.
You
A
would
lot
think
of
there'd
good
be more.
places.
You would think there'd be more.
and the Barrel Room.
Yeah,
Is
and there's
the offshoot of Papa's now.
and then there's a place near me called the Fish Grill in Dania Beach near the Dania Highline Casino. They do a nice job with basic fresh fish also. So again, go support local, especially the mom and pops like Luke's, and J&C is owned by a local guy also. Good stuff. All right, let's take our last break. But first, I got to put in the good word for our friends at Delaware Seafood and Chicken Market,
yes.
4191 North State Road 7. We'll be there next Thursday. We love, again, you know, for masters, if you're going to have a cookout, or you could just put out a nice seafood spread, get some stone crab, get some of those great pink Key West shrimp, get some fish dip, and have yourself a party. Passover coming up, they're the place to go for your Seder table because they have not only the great poultry and, you know, you could buy things like brisket to prepare, but they also have house-made gefilte fish, chopped liver, Delaware Seafood, 4191 North State Road 7, open 7 days a week. They are your headquarters for home cooking and also entertaining. We love them. We're going to see them again on Thursday, and they will take great care of you because quality, value, and selection. That's the Delaware way. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
All right. And in Mayo,
When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you.
We're back.
All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. Look, a couple more things before we wrap up for the week. First of all, thanks again to our friends Kevin and everybody at Batch yesterday. Again, you want to go in there if you've never been, especially their weekend brunch is excellent. Batch is located at 525 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale. And, of course, they have the free parking in the garage next door for the apartment complex. You also get 4 hours.
Watch carefully for it. It's very easy to miss. Watch carefully for the free parking sign.
But it's one of those hidden gems because once you get the free parking, the rest of the day is gravy. And they got the great cocktails and brunch items and good jambalaya, along with shrimp and grits and all the other things. We love, Kevin.
Those loaded tater
the loaded tater
things.
tots.
biscuits, man.
Biscuits. Those
Oh,
drop
my
biscuits
God.
now with the
I'm
blackberry.
not a biscuit guy. I
preserves.
love those stuff.
Maybe
I'm
go
coming
in
to
for
Batch.
brunch after fasting for the evening.
Chicken and waffles. It's all there at Batch 525 North Federal
Excellent
Highway.
cocktails.
And one last note, Visit Lauderdale Food Wine Festival. They're having a special cocktail event tomorrow. Raise your brunch cocktail game. It's going to be at the Primo Liquors in Weston on Weston Road. That's tomorrow at noon. Go online to vlfoodwine.com to get your tickets. 21 and over only. They got a couple of great mixologists lined up to help you improve your weekend brunch cocktail game. You know, everybody gets tired of that same old with the Bloody Marys or the mimosas.
Martinis.
Now there you're going to learn how to make a very classy espresso martini along with a Kir Royale. What's in a Kir Royale?
Beats the hell out of me.
Okay.
Kir.
I pegged you as a Kir Royale guy.
No, I'm a gin and tonic
guy.
drinking guy.
And speaking of mimosas, did you see that I guess Costco is now bottling pre-batch made mimosas for people who just can't handle the concept of opening sparkling wine or champagne and orange juice and putting them together.
Yeah.
From the same people who brought you Mayo Chup, which is the combination of mayonnaise and ketchup. You now have that pre-made screw top mimosas.
Anything
at
to sell
Costco.
it. Anything to sell it.
Oh,
anything
man.
to make it easier for you.
Yeah,
everybody.
and then a couple of news and notes. What's
Kir
that?
Royale is
Yeah.
champagne and creme de cassis.
Nice creme de cassis. Is that like a raspberry type of
Black
like
currant, but
black
it's not
currant?
that far from it.
Okay.
A raspberry taste.
It's something that is now off the table for me. I got to stay away from the sweets. A couple of news and notes. This one you might be interested in, Jeff Defo DeForest. Just announced today, La Capriciosa in Lauderdale by the Sea is closing
Oh, yeah. Wow.
May 31st. They have lost their sublease there. So they are looking for a new location, but they will no longer be serving their interesting style of pizza. I think they call it a pizza. I don't know what they call it, but it's a specific type of pizza along with Italian food. La Capriciosa is going to be closing May 31st. Other news and notes, Piazza Italia, our friend Frankie, that's closing at the end of the month, and they're holding a whole bunch of parties and celebrations because that's what Frankie does. Any excuse to have a party. And tonight they're having, I think they're calling it their farewell white party. So come dressed in white to Piazza Italia on Las Olas. And it's going to be
a disaster waiting to happen, right? White at an Italian
restaurant. Watch out for the red wine. Watch out for the sauce. But they're going to have a fun time there tonight and for the rest of the month.
You call it sauce or gravy?
On Sunday, I call it gravy. Yeah. And then one last news and note: our friend Tom T going to be doing up another crawfish boil tomorrow at his new digs. That's Phil's place, but also Tom's Louisiana Kitchen permanent residency place. Used to be known as Fries to Caviar. Then it was known at Phil's place. Now it's Tom's at Phil's, 6299 North Federal Highway. And you know, it's in the first month there. They're still working out some kinks, but man, it was, you know, his menu, his food as good as ever. But they're going to get the service and all the things aligned. I know last week there was some confusion. Some people put in pre-orders. There were long lines. Now they're going to do time specific. If you want to, you know, pick up some crawfish, just go on to Tom's Louisiana Kitchen, the Facebook page, DM him, say, hey, I want 5 pounds, and can you do it at 2:00? And they'll have assigned slots for people to pick up their crawfish.
Okay.
And
for those of us who are not familiar, it's 6299 Boca.
North Federal Highway in Boca Raton. The mouth of the rat or mouse, depending on trade. Yes, it's in the northern reaches of Boca Raton, and it's a really nice place. It's got several rooms and a patio outside.
Not too far from a sports bar where Defo and I sort of first met at a station across the street.
What was the name of that joint? It was pretty
I
good,
don't know.
too.
It was like a Russ Meyer movie combined with a sports bar.
Is that the old?
I don't know.
There were three.
I don't know. It was called Fries to Caviar. I don't know what it was before.
3 restaurants that were owned by the same person.
Okay. The answer is I don't know. All I know is I'm happy that Tom has finally ended his nomadic existence of going from different bar and different bar. And now he could set up his shop, not have to schlep his equipment everywhere. And the food, I was in there last week. I had some crawfish. I had some of his red beans and rice. I brought it to my friend who proclaimed it one of the best red beans and rice he's ever eaten anywhere. So, all right, that's going to do it for the week and the weekend. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back live on Tuesday with the show. We're going to have Defo, me, and special guest co-host Carlos Frias, James Beard Award-winning former Miami Herald food editor, will be joining us on the show. I'm sure we'll be talking about a lot of hot topics. Until then, everybody, have a great weekend. Stay safe and enjoy every sandwich.